Welcome, everybody. Happy Monday. How is everyone doing? I had one of those days again where I thought I had more time than I really did. And I actually started on my notes earlier today than I normally do. I think I just have a lot to say about what's going on. Let's see who's here. Feel free to say hello. Let us know where you're joining from, how you're doing today. Deborah says good morning. Yvonne, good morning. Christine says happy Monday. Jackie and lovely tribe. Greetings, Jackie. Good morning, Nicole. Hello, Sarah. I'll tell you guys about my weekend in a second. I just want to see who's here first. Hello, Anik. Greetings, Lori. Hi, Mimi and Elena. Happy Monday, Tam. Sarah's from Georgia. Hi, Bonnie. Christine usually runs late when I start earlier. Yeah, I don't know. It's a whole, and I'm talking about Saturn and all this time boundary, time structure, and I'm like, it makes so much sense. But yeah, I'm out of it. I feel like that's been my MO lately. I'm out of it. You're getting a little bit of Jackie in the raw. Just a touch. Hello, Kaz. Lisa says, hi, everyone. I'm having such a lovely day. It's afternoon here in the UK. Had breakfast with a friend and now eating cake while watching this. That sounds lovely. Thanks for joining us and bringing the uppity energy. Not uppity like snooty. Uppity like good, uplifting, big. If this is your first time with me, my name is Jacqui Mancuso. I am a self-taught astrologer from Northern Illinois, and I like to say that, I'd like you guys to know, like, everything that I understand about astrology, I just figured it out myself. So the concepts that I use and the ways that I explain the planets, I wasn't, like, taught this. It's just what makes sense to me. And I say that because sometimes I feel like I give the planets, like, a little wacky story. We got a lot of stories today. But we are talking about all of the square energy that has been going on the whole weekend, and it's extending into this week. We'll dive into that. But Sarah asked how I am, and then Jackie asked how my poker run was. So last Friday, I told you guys that we host an annual poker run every year. I think we've done it 4 years in a row, me and my husband. He knows a lot of people who ride motorcycles, and I'm really good at planning events. So we come together. It's been growing every year, and we, just plan out a route. This year, I think we had 15 bikes. That was our biggest poker run yet. We hop around on the open country roads, and it's just a fun time. But Jackie turns into a different person on the weekends. I call myself Hillbilly Jackie. I drank a lot on Saturday, and I don't do that. And so then yesterday, I was just like, ugh, like I was dead to the world. But our poker run got rained out. But we have some very loyal, safe riding friends. Like, everyone rode through the rain with us. We called it early. We had to head home early because we were all stopping wet. It wasn't that cold, thankfully. But yeah, it was a really good time. And then yesterday, of course, we had a beautiful sunny day, so we had to go make it out to the place that we didn't get to go for our poker run. So we were riding all day again yesterday, and it's just fun. I love summer, but it's really hard for me to love summer and also be a responsible business owner or whatever. So that was my weekend. Why is it called poker run? Because we play poker. We bar hop, and then every bar you get one playing card, and then at the end, whoever has the best poker hand takes home the pot. It's just a fun, friendly thing. Would love to know about what the square stuff means. Exactly, yeah. I'm gonna talk about it. I didn't want to throw too much at first. I have a lot to talk about today. I got really excited about this, what's happening. So far we've had 2 squares where planets square each other. I'll explain exactly what that means. We have 2 more coming up. So the energy right now can just feel a little different. I'm just going to say different. Charlotte, thank you so much for your donation. Very much appreciated. I see April, Greg, Patty, Deborah, Sweat, Goddess. Hello, everybody. So I do just want to touch on Mars has officially entered Taurus. Mars will be in Taurus until July 20th. And we went into deep detail about what Mars in Taurus represents last Friday. So if you missed that session, it is available on my YouTube channel. Just search my name and you can find that. And then this replay will be there as well. So over the weekend, we had 2 planets form squares to Saturn, Venus and the Sun. Later this week, Mercury will also form a square to Saturn. And additionally, Mars is closing in on his exact square to Pluto. So let's break all of this down. A square aspect in astrology happens when 2 planets are 90 degrees apart. So this forms a right angle. This forms a squared corner. That's why we call it a square. And depending on how the planets are arranged in the sky, this causes the planetary energies to respond and react to each other in different ways. So when planets square, they cause tension. Squares can feel a bit uncomfortable. Squares can feel restrictive. And in any aspect, the planet that has the larger orbit, the planet that is farther out, holds the stronger influence in the aspect. And the way that I read astrology is that the farther the planets are, the more mature they are, right? So like Mercury is the closest. Mercury has a very childlike, curious energy. Pluto is the farthest. And sometimes I refer to Pluto as the grandfather. He's very slow to process, but he has monumental lessons all the time. So when we have these square aspects, and the farther planet appears to almost impose their will on the closer planet, to me this feels like tough love parenting in the best way, right? The elder planet, the bigger, farther out planet sees the bigger picture, and it causes the younger planet to think twice about what they were about to speed into, okay? So that's squares. Let's break down all these Saturn squares, and then we'll go on to talking about Mars squaring Pluto. So first, Venus squared Saturn. This happened on Saturday, June 8th. Then the Sun squared Saturn yesterday, which is Sunday, June 9th. And then Mercury will square Saturn on Wednesday, June 12th. So since Saturn in this whole parade is the farther planet, let's get to know him better to understand how he is imposing his will on the other 3 planets. So Saturn is the planet that I refer to as Father Time. He sets the pace of our lives in many ways. If you've heard about the Saturn return, it's a big deal in astrology. It's a 28-year cycle that Saturn takes around your birth chart, and Saturn gives you these timely, monumental readjustments. So Saturn is very predictable in his energy. This crossed my mind and I had to throw it in here. It kind of feels like Saturn has a stick up his ass. Like there's no play in Saturn's world. It's all business all the time. What do we have to be responsible for? What's on our to-do list? We have to do it this way. Saturn sets our boundaries. Saturn tells us how far we can go, how far we can push things. So Saturn is so serious, yeah. He's at 19 degrees of Pisces. Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. Pisces represents the final surrender before we rebirth into Aries. So Saturn's job while he's in Pisces for 2.5 years is to make sure that we are on track to surrender in the most timely way. And as unemotional and cold Saturn can appear at times, he is setting our pace for our highest good. I do believe that all of the planets have our highest good in mind. So Saturn in Pisces says, I know you've been attached to this person, this habit, this house, this job, whatever it is personally for you. And Saturn knows in order to up level, you have to let go of this thing. It's holding you back. It might not feel like it, but it's holding you back. And again, it takes Saturn 2.5 years to show you this while he's in Pisces. This cycle began in March of 2023. This cycle will taper off next May 2025, but then Saturn retrogrades back into Pisces that September 2025 until February 2026. So really this time around, it's just about like a 3-year process to surrender something in your life. Okay, hi Jenny. Jackie says, both Saturday and Sunday, I felt like I had all the time I needed to do what I wanted. Cool. Hannah is in your Saturn return. Kayla, next spring is your Saturn return. I went through mine in 2021 and it was amazing. It was amazing. This past weekend, cute little Venus in Gemini. She's flirty, she's daring, she's ready to change things up in her love life. She's wondering what it would be like if she chatted up with someone over here. If the love life part isn't resonating with your personal life, Venus is linked to anything that we find valuable. And Gemini is linked to making changes. So Venus and Gemini can also tend to be a little bit risky with her money. So on Saturday the 8th, that's when Saturn and Venus squared. And I feel this energy as Venus and her dad. The Venus-Saturn relationship, I see daughter Venus, dad Saturn. And Venus is just trying to be carefree. She's trying to flow, follow her gut, maybe get herself into trouble. But this square from Saturn causes us to slow down, maybe even halt, and get real with what the outcome might be. You sure you want to change that up? Saturn's saying, are you sure you want to take that risk? Saturn doesn't necessarily have to change your mind or kill your joy, but he's asking you to check the facts, to get practical, to think through what you might actually lose, Saturn in Pisces. He wants you to think through what you might actually lose if you were to take that risk. Then you get to assess if it's worth it. Venus represents our values. Is this change valuable to me? This is actually practically what I would gain. This is actually practically what I would lose. Then yesterday, so that was on Saturday. But these energies, guys, like it's not just the one day and then it's over. It's kind of like a blend, right? However, yesterday, the Sun squared Saturn. The Sun represents how we shine. The Sun is like our life force. It's our soul essence and being. The Sun represents our inner light. So the Sun in Gemini shines, the Sun helps us shine brighter when we make changes, when we explore options, when we ask questions. So when the Sun is in Gemini, the more we try to keep things the same, the dimmer our light, essentially, right? The more we engage in curiosity, allowing our perception to bend, the more alive and vibrant we become naturally from the inside out. And this feels similar to the Venus energy, where the soul now is considering, well, maybe I can change this part of my life, my being. Maybe I do want to live somewhere else. Maybe I do want to drive a different car. Maybe I do want to be with a different type of person. And this feels like a deep-seated change. This feels big. This feels like a big personal shift. And then again, here comes Saturn, forming a square to the Sun yesterday, asking the soul to reevaluate. Is this really what you want? Look at what you would lose. It could be so easy to look at what you would gain because, of course, as humans, we want to avoid our problems. Approaching your problems head on is scary and difficult. But Saturn is pointing your attention to what would be lost, what would end, What would be gone if you did just willy-nilly change things up on the drop of a dime? Then on Wednesday, Mercury comes to square Saturn. Mercury is the planet of the mind. He represents our beliefs, our thought patterns, and how we process information. Mercury loves being in Gemini because Mercury is the ruler of Gemini. So Mercury's energy is super amplified when he's in his own sign. So Mercury's curious. Mercury, what if? What if? Saturn just showed us over the weekend what we would lose if we did make this risky choice. And perhaps today and tomorrow, before Mercury forms his square, he might be trying to get us to play the mental game to save it. Mercury might be throwing a whole bunch of new possibilities your way. Well, sure, we'd lose this, but what if we didn't? What if we actually benefited from losing this? What if this is really what we need? So then on Wednesday, this might feel like a big mental slowdown. And how I feel this square, Saturn square Mercury, I feel like Saturn is curbing a thought. Saturn says, no more. We're not going to go down that road anymore. This is where that thought ends. Remember your responsibilities. That's what I feel like Saturn wants Mercury to do when we get there on Wednesday. Remember your responsibilities. And I really hope that all of this is resonating. I want to see what some of you guys are saying, and then we're going to move on to the Mars-Pluto stuff. Christine keeps getting the message to slow down. Just this morning, another teacher read a message on slowing down. It's always the message, guys, right? I was talking about this recently. The universe has never shown me, like, it's time to hurry up. It's time to make the move right now. Like, every message I've ever gotten from astrology is always, take your time, slow down. Athena says Saturday had a major release around frustration of how hard my partner have worked to get nowhere. Large views of our current trajectory, leaving us in our 60s and 70s with no solid foundation. Yet there's Venus knowing we can do so much more. Yeah, this is a big, like, get real. Get real. Don't be afraid of considering the possibilities, right? Don't be afraid of questioning things, letting your mind play, like letting your mind play out. You know, if I did get divorced, what would it look like? What would my life actually look like if I really ended this relationship versus what would my life actually look like if we put 2 hours of work into it this week or every week, you know? What would my life actually look like if I moved across the world? Practically, what would it look like? How much money would I need? Would I meet friends? Would I lose my whole community? Versus, what would it actually look like if I stayed here? Would I be stifled, right? Would I feel closed down? Would I feel, you know? Saturn's asking us to just get real. April says yes. Deborah, as if you were reading specifically for me. Sophia, I feel like I just spent an hour talking to you about where I am, and this is the answer. Okay, this is great. I love when this resonates with you guys so perfectly. Suzanne, I came back from a trip, felt I was getting sick, had a big slowdown yesterday, went to bed at 9. Better today. Good. I think I fell asleep at like 7:30 or 8 o'clock last night. Got us exactly where I've been this weekend, sitting in thoughts about big changes and taking breaks. Greg, I volunteer as tribute. I will do it. Yeah. We also have Mars in Taurus approaching an exact square to Pluto in Aquarius. And this will become exact tomorrow, Tuesday, the 11th of June. I talked on Friday. I'm not going to go deep into it again. If you want to watch the replay, it's on YouTube. But on Friday, I talked about how when Mars entered Taurus yesterday, he formed a T-square. So there was Mars in Taurus squaring Pluto in Aquarius loosely, not exactly yet. And then the moon was at early Leo. So we had Mars, our energy and ambition. We had Pluto, nasty destroyer, let me show you the depths. And then we had our emotions. So I told you guys, if you need to set yourself up for a good cry, set yourself up for a good cry. It wasn't crying in my life, but like I did have a very good emotional release on Sunday. So it's just interesting. So Mars in Taurus is now approaching his exact square to Pluto in Aquarius, happens tomorrow. So let's get to know these planets. Pluto has the bigger orbit, so Pluto's energy is stronger at this square. Pluto is called the destroyer, and Pluto moves around the zodiac like a cosmic tiller. Okay, this came to me today and it made the best sense. You know, that lawn equipment that tears up the soil, that destroys the soil, but it's all for the purpose of creating a more fertile landscape. To aerate and break up the old flat land, to expose any rocks or roots that may have inhibited your next round of crops. So Pluto, his influence can make him seem like an ass if you don't understand what he's doing. Pluto exposes secrets. Pluto shows us what's been hiding. Pluto in Aquarius is exposing what has been hiding in the world of technology, in the aviation world, and in our communities and society at large. And just for reference, right? Like Pluto in Aquarius is not going to show up and expose it all right now. It takes Pluto like 20 years to move through this sign. So this is going to be drip, drip, right? Little things coming out. So here's Pluto in Aquarius digging up secrets about either technology, your community, the big groups that you're a part of, squaring Mars in Taurus, who Mars in Taurus just wants to get to work tending the garden, figuring out the watering schedule, being able to tend to the seeds that are now germinating. So how I see this Mars square Pluto tomorrow is that Pluto comes to dig up something that Mars is working with. I see a seedling just beginning to pop up above the soil, and Mars is so excited to take care of this little baby, to put energy and effort into helping it grow big and strong. And then Pluto comes over and rips it out. And Pluto says, nope, that one is diseased. That one wasn't going to make it. And something like this can feel heartbreaking in the moment because you were ready to pour your heart and soul into caring for this budding seed. But Pluto's the elder. Pluto's wise. He knows it wouldn't have been worth it. Pluto knows it wouldn't have paid off. It would have wasted your time. And just to add a deeper layer to this Pluto square Mars, Pluto's moving retrograde right now. So this makes his energy feel like it's something inside of yourself, an internal habit. Maybe a way that you engage in your community or your society, maybe how you act as a digital citizen. There's something that in the realm of Aquarius, and I ran out of time, guys, that's where my notes stop, so I'm just going to go with this here and see how this is coming through, because Pluto in Aquarius wants to also destroy what we thought we wanted for our future. And that sounds terrible, but it's all just to help you get on your highest timeline. So if you had a sense of, okay, we're going this way, and I need to make these changes in order for me to go this way, in order for society to go this way, Pluto right now on Tuesday, tomorrow, might rip up like, you know what, maybe you don't have to put all that effort into this part of yourself. This week has a strong energy of no, stop, redirect, because there's something better for you. Goddess says, dang, this is exactly what happened this weekend. Sophia says, ouch, all right. I don't like delivering bad messages. It's not a bad message, right? Nothing is ever good or bad. It's all about how we interpret the energy. But this does feel like something is changing. Like you were kind of just Venus, Mercury, Sun, right? In Gemini, playing with these ideas. Ooh, I like this, and this seems fun, and let's just make this little change over here. Saturn, Pluto is like, yeah, no, sorry, but no. And it doesn't have to steal your joy. It just feels like a redirect. Feels like a redirect. So we're going to use two different oracle decks to ask two different questions. One of them is honestly a brand new deck. I know I said that last week, but this deck was gifted to me from my Amazon wish list. So thank you. I've received a handful of gifts from my Amazon wish list, and it makes me feel so appreciated. Just like, oh, people want to give me books and decks and stuff. This is pretty cool. So thank you. But we're going to use, this is a Mary Magdalene oracle deck. And this is something that, like, I don't know why, but Mary Magdalene is like reaching her hand out to work with me very strongly right now. And this deck is very much resonating. I don't know much about Mary Magdalene, just gonna be honest, but like everything that this deck has told me so far and like the two people I've used it for, it's on point. And I feel like there is all of this heavy Saturn, Pluto, no energy. So I'm like, all right, Mary, how are you gonna help us? What are we learning with these squares? That's the question I want to ask. What are we learning with these squares? And then we'll pull a second deck, second question. I want to read what you guys are talking about, but if you would like to send your energy into these cards, asking what are we learning with these squares? Lisa didn't cry, but I was so tired Sunday, slept on the sofa. That feels like a Saturn square too. Goddess, it was good. The tension led to deep thinking, which led to me knowing exactly what direction I need to take. Christine forgot about the cry, had a big one. It was on Saturday. You know what? The energy is still there, okay? Doesn't have to be the day. Kayla, I feel like that was my entire day trip yesterday. Wanted to do XYZ, didn't do any of them, yet still had the most amazing day. Yeah, stop, redirect. Doesn't have to be shitty. Suzanne was in a museum last week, spent a while looking at a Renaissance Mary Magdalene painting. Interesting. Sophia, she is the auntie rubbing our back after Dad said no to what we wanted. Oh, I like that. I love that. For how long do these squares have effect? That's a good question. The Mars square is going to hang out the longest. But the Sun, Mercury, Venus squaring Saturn, that should probably be alleviated by Friday, I would say. The Mars square, I'm just guessing because I don't have my ephemeris up right now, but I would give it maybe 2 weeks. Week and a half, 2 weeks. Okay, what are we learning with these squares? If you are new to me, I always do group readings, so I'm going to allow 3 cards to fall out of the deck for all of us. What are we learning with these squares? And then the whole reading has something for everybody, right? It's all for all of us, but I like to give you guys a playground to practice your intuition. So I'm going to hold up the backs of the 3 cards. You're going to see the same image 3 times. But then I invite you to tune into your own personal subjective intuition and just see if any cards feel different than the other. If anything in your environment changes, that could be a clue that the universe wants you just to pay extra attention to that one specific card, maybe 2 cards. If you feel nothing, does not mean that your intuition is broken. Does not mean that you don't have a strong intuition. It just means the whole reading holds equal importance for you today. Tam yesterday felt sad and rejected. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see how much time we have at the end of this. I might get personal and share what actually happened with my weekend, because it's very similar to a lot of things that you guys are talking about, but we'll see. I want to get down to business, right? Saturn is telling us to get down to business. What are we learning with these squares? I'm going to show you the backs of the cards. You tell us in the chat which cards are resonating. Here's the back of card number 1. The back of card number 2. and the back of card number 3. I'll show them one more time, but let us know in the chat which cards are resonating with you. What are we learning with these squares? The back of card number 1. The back of card number 2. The back of card number 3. A couple weeks ago, I came on here with a wrist brace because I do Taekwondo and I blocked a kick like straight on with my fist, and it jarred something. And then on Saturday, for I don't know what I did, but my hand hurt so bad. And I don't know if it's just like the healing is going to a different part and it's like I'm babying or whatever. But what's interesting is I'm having a hard time holding on to things right now. And then I was doing all these notes about Saturn and Pisces squaring all these planets. Like, let go. Like, this is my body telling me there's something, just let go. You don't need to hold on. Like, it's difficult to like close my fingers right now. It's very interesting. All right, let's see who's working with what. Jacqui, 2, 1. Jennifer, all 3 with 2 the strongest. Win, 2. Anique, 2 and 3. Deborah, 1 and 3. Lisa sees a face in the cards. I can see that. Bonnie, 3. Carrie, 3. Sophia, 3. Lori, 2. Mimi, 1 and 3. Margot, 3. April's trying something new. Used my quartz pendulum and got 2 and 3. Cool. Tyla, 2 and 3. Kelly, 1 and 3. Athena, 1. Goddess, all strongest on 3. Patty, 3, Carrie, 3, Cindy, all, Nicole, 2, Suzanne, 3, Mary Alice, 1 and 3, Lisa, all, mainly 3, Lori, 3, Breeze, 3, Christine, 1 and 2, but feel all 3, Jenny, there's something with all of them, Andriana, on 1, the birds chirped loudly, but all 3, Chantel, 3, then 2, then 1, Nicole, 1, Kayla, 1, speak from the heart, 2, expand, believe it to see it. 3, feel the disappointment and then let it go. Cool, let's see what the messages say about all that. Sarah, 1 makes me feel guarded, so I have a feeling it will step on my toes or something I don't want to hear. 2 and 3 are similar as well, but 1 is stronger. Cool. Nikki, 3. What are we learning with these squares? These descriptions are longer, just to let you go, just give you a heads up. Card number 1, what are we learning? The message is the legacy. Love is always legendary. I'm just trying to figure out how else I can hold them because it's actually uncomfortable right now. The legacy. Love is always legendary. I dreamt once that I was at the bottom of the ocean. I felt this impossible weight on me, as if I was holding up the entire ocean with my tiny little back. Then this unexpected ripple of light made me lift my head. I glanced up to see a huge mirror right in front of me. All I could see was the suffering on my face from the weight. But then I saw my grandfather standing beside me, and he had that glowing look of love that he often used when he was alive. I noticed that he was just the first in an endless line of ancestors, all looking at me with that same love gaze, and they were all holding up the weight of the ocean with me. Whenever I feel this sense of having to do something on my own, or of being alone with my sadness, or with a choice about my life that is creating stress, I remember that I am part of a great unending chain of the love that has come before me. I am just one tiny link. My life is not linear. It does not just begin and then end. My life is a continuation of all the love that has been passed on to me. Love is always legendary. Even though a loved one has passed on and is no longer visible, the love that they are lives on from within us. Each time we allow love to overwhelm an unforgiving state we've fallen into, we are connected again to them. All love lives on through us, from within us, hidden and unseen, yet no less real. This is the form of vision Mary Magdalene practiced. This is how she was able to see Christ within her heart. And maybe this is what Mary shared with Sarah and all those around her. This is the form of vision that lifts the weight of what we thought we had to do alone. This is the form of vision that connects us to the legacy of love we each come from. And this is why Mary responds to Peter in her gospel, "I will teach you about what is hidden from you." This deck gives you a soul voice meditation question, a question to meditate on. And this one is, whose love lives on through me? So the general message I got, what are we learning with these squares with card number 1, is that it's not all on your shoulders. It's not all on your back. Never has been, never will be. This is something much deeper. It's not even like waiting for people in your physical reality to necessarily come and help you, which they will. But this comes from the legacy of your ancestors. This comes from, there's an energetic holding of love all around you all the time. And when you tap into that, that's when it connects with the people in your life that draws them closer to help you. I hope that makes sense. So instead of zooming in on a person and saying, I need this person to do this thing for me, zoom out to all of existence, the universe, whatever source you connect with, your ancestors, the general sense of love that is available to all of us. You ask the big for what you need, right? I need this type of support. I need this. And then let the love around you move the people in your life to get you what you need. Does that make sense? That's what I'm feeling from that card. Very much so. Lisa, I'm glad you said that. It's the universal love that is coming through for me. Yep. Yeah. We'll see what else comes through with these other cards. Goddess, yes. Sophia, this feels to me like it's not all on you, and that seems like an end is just part of a bigger plan that goes far before and beyond you. Yes. Yes. All right, card number 2. What are we learning with these squares? Card number 2 is Beloved. Love never ends. This author, because she speaks a lot of in I words, Megan Watterson, she studied, she's a theologian with a Master of Theological Studies from the Harvard Divinity School. She's the founder of the House of Mary Magdalene. So that's who she is. Very well versed in Mary Magdalene stuff. So Beloved, love never ends, card number 2. A beloved in my experience is not a love that can be contrived, meaning we can't force anyone to become beloved to us. It's a love that's gifted. It's a love that comes from within. Mary and Christ, in my deep belief, are beloveds. A beloved relationship moves along a different timeline or outside of time altogether. There are relationships that move along a linear trajectory. We meet, we work to get to know each other, to build trust. We grow the love and friendship over time. A beloved, though, is remembered. The relationship doesn't feel linear. It's as if this person is someone we have always known. It's as if some part of us that could never be pointed to or even named precisely is now whole, simply from the presence of this person restored to our lives. We feel seen, we feel known. It's not a love that's earned. It's just there as if we were born with the capacity to recognize it, as if we were here on this earth in order to meet this beloved incarnate. We can only recognize the beloved from within us. We know when this other person has entered our lives because of the massive shift that happens internally. And though we cannot force or manipulate meeting this beloved, we can, right now in this moment, cultivate what it feels like to be fully loved. Death cannot separate beloveds. The form of the relationship radically shifts, becoming subtle rather than incarnate, but continues to grow and increase after death. Beloveds cannot be separated in death from each other because they are not separate from each other in life either. A beloved can never leave us because the beloved exists primarily within. We can give ourselves now in this moment the love we hope to one day live into, the love that brings forth more of the truth of who we already are. A beloved is also who we can be to ourselves. When we love ourselves unconditionally, we create new potential, new life, and exponential hope. Love only ever increases from within us. Love is what never ends. The soul voice meditation question: how can I love myself unconditionally in this moment? What are we learning with these squares? The quote that keeps coming up in my mind is, if you can't love yourself, how in the hell are you going to love somebody else? Just the Venus and Gemini energy in general, and this isn't to say anything bad about Geminis, but what I see is like a reaching, like a grasping, like a everything's changing. I just want to grab onto what I can. And this card is saying that if you look externally, only externally, to validate your love and to feel loved, it's never going to happen because it starts within. So if you're able to love yourself, what's that word? Unconditionally, my gosh, then you know that you're able to tap in to the love that's all around you all of the time, to ask for support. It's only within. Christine says this resonates. Tyla, this made me cry a little. Bonnie, my mom called my kids beloved. Of course she did. Of course she did. Margot, beautiful. Alice, this message brought me to tears. Rachel says we had to put down our 16-year-old dog yesterday on the 5th anniversary of my dad's funeral. Wow. There's something there to be explored. Oh my gosh. That's heavy. I'm so sorry, Rachel. Carrie, it's only within. Because if it's not within, you don't feel like you're worthy enough to reach out and ask for it. Does that make sense? A lot of love for Rachel in the chat. Love this community. What are we learning with these squares? This is card number 3 from the Mary Magdalene deck. Message is the red thread. Good recognizes good. It's hard to remember what we have never been taught. It takes trusting our own intuition, our own heart. It takes learning how to listen to what the soul whispers to us when we can get still enough, free enough from the distracting chaos of our everyday life. It's a mystery to me what allows us to remember the good, and I trust it always will be. Maybe it's blood memory. Maybe it's encoded somewhere in the soul or in the heart of what it means to be human. Good recognizes good. I was first given a red thread by a shaman. When I saw her the first time, the only accurate way to describe it is that I recognized her. I remembered her. But I couldn't possibly know how or grasp how, or from when. And that wasn't the point of recognition. The point was to strengthen my own trust in myself, because my intuition, my soul, had led me to her. The red thread is about remembering the good within ourselves and each other. And the red thread is about recognizing those who are walking with us, to remind us that we are here together to be the good. It's worn on the left wrist, the feminine side of the body, to acknowledge that it's the feminine within each of us that receives spirit from within. The red thread is for those of us who are devoted to returning again and again to the heart, who listen to what the heart knows and then do whatever we can to put that knowing into action. Mary Magdalene anointed Christ before he was crucified. Mary made anointing the most sacred ritual in the Christian tradition. Mary was given secret teachings from Christ because his love for her was extraordinary. Mary's gospel was buried and forgotten for millennia. This is why I wear the red thread. It's hard to remember something you have never been taught, but I do this in memory of her. I do this because the good can never be lost. The soul voice meditation question. What do I know in this moment that no one ever taught me? What are we learning with these squares? How to trust your own knowing, how to trust your own connection. Good recognizes good. So we have all these options and choices all around us, and Saturn saying like, hold the phone. But there's something, oh my gosh, oh, this Gemini energy is getting to me. There's something about what you want to change that comes from within, that comes from the love of you recognizing the love of the situation. And it can be very difficult because you can get in your head about, am I doing the right thing? Is this what this person would do? Am I going to be judged or persecuted for what I want to do? Good recognizes good. The universe bears witness to your true intentions. So trust your inner knowing. Sarah says, still feeling guarded over here. I've had a lot of death and medical issues in my family at the moment. I guess I'm in the phase of being strong for others. That's a lot, Sarah. That's very heavy. I know it sucks right now, but it's really here to teach you. It's here to teach you how strong you are, right? We're like tea bags. You don't know how strong we are until we're in hot water. Pretty sure that was Eleanor Roosevelt. I paraphrased. Carrie, that speaks loudly to you. Tyla loves that question. Suzanne's so beautiful. If you guys want to reread these messages with the soul voice meditation questions, Bonnie puts the recaps in our spiritual community every time. It's the group that I have here on Insight Timer, so feel free to join that if you want to read everything. But I'm also posting the video to my YouTube channel, so you can just search my name on YouTube if you want to rewatch this. Alice, learning and trusting that still small voice of intuition in all of us. Yeah, it's hard because the mind takes over. We believe our thoughts too much, and we've been taught to think things through. Feel it. Feel it. Now I want to get a red thread on my left wrist. Does someone have to give it to me? Suzanne, I don't know. I told you guys I'm brand new to Mary Magdalene. This is all I'm learning as I'm reading this. I guess no, because it came through already, so the gift was already given to you, right? The energy was given to you. Margot's so subtle, so true on card 3. Sarah, you get it, I know. It sucks, but it's good for you. Christine is the wolf on the wall. New. Yeah, I put it up like last week or 2 weeks ago. My friend's sister painted that for me for my birthday. It's a nice little nighttime mountain scene. Jackie, my daughters were born in China. An adoption fairy tale called The Red Thread says that a thread went around the world and connected us. That's so sweet. I like that. It's very interesting. How do I tie? Let me tie these 3 together, and then we're going to pull one more card from one more deck. So we're asking, what are we learning with these squares? We have a lot of the playful side of us wants to change things up, wants to make a new choice, and Saturn is saying, you sure? Double check, get practical on this. And then we also have Mars, who's ready to tend to a thing that he's been growing, and Pluto's going to rip it up and say, no, you don't need to take care of that thing. That's going to waste your time. So what are we learning from these squares? This one's calling most strong. This reading doesn't seem linear to me. A lot of the times, like, I'm able to talk about, like, card 1 leads to 2, leads to 3. This one feels way too much. So with Beloved, if you're searching for something outside of yourself, which we're all guilty of, we're all humans, right? If you're searching for, this is the person that's going to make me happy, this is the thing that's going to make me happy, you're selling yourself short. It has to start it has to start from within. So spend time to slow down with yourself. Actually, both of these talk about slowing down and getting out of the chaos of life, so that you can remember with your heart, right? Not with your mind. You can soul, heart, remember that you're connected with love all of the time. And all you have to do is ask. All you have to do is love yourself enough to know that you're worthy of what it is that you want. Ask the big for it. Ask Great Spirit. Ask the universe, whoever you connect with. Ask the energy and allow things to come through. That's what I got from that Mary Magdalene. We're going to pull one more card from the Healing Waters Oracle. I felt like if Saturn was so prevalent right now this week, Saturn is the outer planet in all these squares, he's in Pisces. So why not learn from what the waters? I want to ask, what's on the other side? What's on the other side? Oh, yeah, my fan. I'm sorry. It's the heat. The heat is on because it's freezing here. Jacqui loves the Mary Magdalene cards. Me too. Me too. I can't wait to get to know them a little bit better. Oh, Suzanne. Suzanne was adopted. That really resonates. That's so cute. Cindy, all 3 resonated. Just 1 profound, 3 nuanced. Alice, I say to myself, I'm the effing love of my life. Yeah, I love that. Carrie, nothing can bring you what you need, but what's already within you. I feel like I learned that lesson. I'm like, all right, cool, I got it. And then, like, something else happens, and I'm like, all right, cool, I got it. And then I learn it again. And it's very deep. Very, very deep. Andriana, I want them too. So glad you used them today. Yeah, me too. It just felt like we needed a softer touch to everything that's happening right now. So we're going to use the Healing Waters to ask, what's on the other side? Once we make it through all of this and we remember that we love ourselves and that we can connect to our intuition to ask for what it is that we deserve and what we desire, what's on the other side? So feel free to send your energy into this deck. If you've been enjoying today's session, or if you've learned something today, if you'd like to, sorry guys, I'm fixing another live stream. If you'd like to offer an energy exchange in the form of a donation, they're always appreciated. I do love sharing everything that I have here, and it feels really nice to be appreciated back. If you haven't yet followed me on Insight Timer, feel free to hit the follow button. I'm here about 2 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, or Friday, depending on what the astrology is doing. I tell you what's happening in the current astrology, and then we pull some cards, so that's fun. If you came in a little bit late, the replay of this will be on my YouTube channel. You can find my YouTube link in my link tree. You can find everything that I'm talking about ever in my link tree, which is in my Insight Timer teacher profile. So if you click on my face, it'll take you to my teacher profile. There's one link there. You can follow all of my socials there, my Facebook, my TikTok, my YouTube, my Instagram. My courses are there. Right now we're in Gemini season, so I do have a Gemini course available to learn about Gemini energy and then I give you an embodiment technique every season so you can pull that energy into your life to sync up with the universe. If you want to follow, if you want to hop on my email list, because I have a lot going on and I tend to communicate best through my email list. Would you guys say that? Those of you who are on it. Yeah, but I don't send out very many emails. I only share when I have something important to say. So line dancing on Instagram, yeah. So I'm turning into a line dancer nowadays. I've gone to a couple line dance conventions, and I'm like redefining like who is Jacqui Mancuso astrologer, like who am I as this like brand. And I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna share me, right? I know you guys don't only come for my astrology knowledge. Like I know that like you're here because you like me, so I'm just gonna show you who Jacqui is, and it's whatever. So that's what I'm doing. One last thing, anyone who does send a donation either through Insight Timer or through PayPal, Venmo, links in the link tree, I have been sending thank you messages from the books that we use. So I take your energy in, I open the book, and I do a book dump, and then I give you a little message. So if you do send a donation, feel free to like ask yourself an energetic question, right? Tap into the big energy, and then see what might come through from one of these for you. Thank you, Brian. I very much appreciate you. Alrighty. What's on the other side? All this square tension, all these choices, stop, reflect, maybe redirect, get practical. What is on the other side is the pearl. Of course it is. Alchemy. The reward at the end, from grit to grace. Pearls are one of the most precious treasures of this world, and certainly of the sea. While the specifics of their creation remain a mystery, they're believed to be the result of a natural process. Certain mollusks produce pearls as a way of protecting themselves from irritants that enter their shells. The formation of a natural pearl is a rare occurrence, with only one in roughly 10,000 oysters producing one, and it can take anywhere from 6 months to several years. This card brings a precious message that something sacred is being created, and it's likely being created by you. Maybe you've been creating something in the physical, such as a child, a home, or bringing an idea to life. Or perhaps your pearl is more metaphorical than that, having dedicated yourself to alchemizing your hardships into healing, grit, and grace. Whatever it is, you are being acknowledged for your work and the deep roots required to truly rise. Clina was the Celtic goddess of beauty, love, and the ocean, and it was believed that she could be found in every 9th wave. It is said that people would whisper their wishes and prayers into small pearl offerings, placed within a shell and tied with seaweed, and then cast them into the sea on the 9th wave in the hope that the goddess would grant their prayer. Offer up your prayers to Clina for the alchemy to continue to happen. The jewel at the end is near. So this deck gives us some affirmations to activate this, and there's 2. I am ready to receive the jewels of my life, and I am ready to alchemize my hardships into healing and my grit into grace. So that will be in our spiritual community if you want to copy those. But what's on the other side is, I don't know, whatever you want. Literally whatever you want. If you know that you can tap in and ask for exactly what it is that you want, it's waiting there for you. It just takes the self-love to ask, right? It takes that knowing that, you know what, I am worthy of having everything that I want. I'm going to ask for it, and I might have to go through a little bit of hardship, but then it's going to be there on the other side waiting for me. I feel like right now we're going through the growing pains, and you're going to see it all pay off when we get on the other side. Jacqui says pearls are the June birthstones. And Becky says pearl is the birthstone for Gemini. I love it. Carry the prize from the ocean. Yes. Pearls of wisdom. Tyla, thank you so much for your donation. I'm going to type out June. Cliodhna. That's the goddess name, the Celtic goddess name. And the book tells me it's pronounced Kleena. So it does have a little pronunciation. Kleena, I think. So, yeah. I'm trying to think of like how else to say this eloquently. Like, we know it, right? We know that you have to go through some rough times and it's all for your highest good. I love that this card gave the affirmation that you tell the universe, I'm ready to receive my highest good, right? Because if you keep saying, I want this, I want this, I want this, it's keeping it distanced from yourself. But if you affirm and you tell the universe, I'm ready to receive what it is that I desire, then the universe is like, oh, okay, you're ready? Cool, let me give it to you now. Maybe we'll just wrap up this hardship real quick because you're ready now. So I will be back on Friday, June 14th. We're going to talk about the Sun and Mercury meeting up together in Gemini. So that'll be fun. That is a Mercury Kazemi because we all learned that together. I'm not feeling it. I was gonna share. Do I want to share? Hang on, let me listen to my internal voice real quick. Yeah, so essentially this weekend, because someone else, Tam, was talking about, I don't know, feeling not good. Here's how the astrology has played out for me, and then we can say goodbye and wrap it up. Jacqui, I'm feeling it. Cindy, World Ocean Day was on June 8th, wearing a South Sea pearl ring this week, as felt too. Thank you. You're awesome. Carrie, this was an awesome reading, really hitting where it needs it. Thank you. Beautiful. Venus square Saturn, Sun square Saturn over the weekend. Long story short, we plan this poker run every year, right? And it felt very one-sided this year. I felt like I did all of the work, and then my husband just cleaned his bike and shaved his beard, and like the rest of it was all on me. So then Saturday morning we're like getting ready and I was waiting for more assistance to come through and I got upset, and I'm doing this new thing where I voice my feelings. It's still very foreign to me, guys. I'm trying really hard. And so I shared, like, I just feel like I've done everything and now I'm helping you get ready this morning too. So like, what the hell? And it wasn't a good conversation because we were both like stressed out, like trying to rush to get to this big poker run. So that happened, whatever, we made the best of it. We did have a good time on Saturday. And then yesterday morning, it was all just like bubbling up, right? And I didn't want to confront, but I gently said, like, I'm feeling disconnected. There's some sort of disconnect. I feel like we're not on the same page. I don't know, like what, I don't know. Where are you at? And then we did, right? Saturn wants you to get practical. Saturn wants you to look at the options. And so not because we want to move in that direction, but we had the discussion, like, what would it look like if we split up? What would life actually look like if you went your way and I went my way? Because if you're afraid of having those conversations, if you're afraid of looking at the reality of the other option, it's just going to be this big scary monster that lives there all the time. But we both openly discussed, like, well, I would probably do this and you would probably do this. Okay, does that sound better than the tension that we're feeling right now? No, because there's something really special underneath all of these egoic feelings and, things that we have to work through on our own, right? So this card really resonated with my personal life right now, is because it's all about yourself, right? I can't keep waiting for him to give me exactly what I need for me. Like, I got to figure it out for myself, and vice versa. And that doesn't mean that, like, he's off the hook for me, but the more I appreciate myself, I could tell him exactly what I need from him. If he's able to give it, great. If not, it's another conversation to have, right? But it all comes from within. So that's what my weekend was all about. And it was just the big discussion, the big scary discussion. Of course I don't want to talk with my husband about like what would divorce look like. We've been together for 7 years. I'm also in my head about the 7-year thing because I keep hearing that like that's when tension happens. And then being an astrologer, here's all this Saturn energy. Saturn works in 7-year chunks. So I know, right? As an astrologer, I know we're going into just like a redefining whatever. But I really do trust it's all going to come. Did you guys hear that? That was Darla snoring hardcore. 7-year itch. Thank you, Christine. It's all for the better, right? And then I talk to, like, I do have some elder friends. Thank you to all of my friends who are older than me. But like, I hear your stories from your marriage, right? You got to go through the shit. You have to have the uncomfortable talks. You just got to figure it out together. And then like, it really does come to the pearl. But what was interesting is this weekend, she's snoring so hard. It was the first time that I actually like said out loud, like, this is the kind of relationship I'm hoping for. Like, I do love the concept of seeing each other as a god or a goddess. Like, something about that, I'm like, I just want to be a divine wife and I want to have a divine husband. And I think it was really nice to plant that seed so that he can just sit with all that. But that's personal life. Personal life, that's what was happening. Rachel, thank you so much. I appreciate your donation. Damn, I'm listening. Christine, lots of pearl energy going on. Suzanne gave my daughter a Tahitian pearl for her graduation last week, of course. Becky, this all sounds like my relationship. You're welcome, Tyla, for being so honest. You guys did hear Darla. It's awesome. Carrie, yeah, the 7-year itch. It'll work out. But I mean, like, there's Venus and Gemini, guys. What if it would be easier with someone else, you know? And then of course it wouldn't be, because you're going to come up with all these issues with someone else too. But it's just the curiosity, right? Excuse me. Sarah, beautiful and hard to do, but y'all are making it through. It's beautiful to hear because it seems she's snoring so hard. Because it seems some people are just so quick to give up and move on without stopping and trying to work things out first. It's a fear response, right? It's a fear response. Maybe I'm not worth this. Maybe I'm not able to give what you need. So obviously I'm a piece of shit, right? Like that's the energy that comes from, is it time to split? Obviously I can't give you what you need, but that's all BS. It's just all about having conversations. Cindy, thanks for sharing. Using your voice is difficult. And Darla snoring. Love it. April, the rule of 7. Every 7 years, you will evaluate if you can stay or need to go. I divorced my ex after 22 years. At 21 years, I had a reckoning. Interesting. Paul is on his own path, which is exactly where he needs to be, 100%. Yeah, I know we all are. Voicing your concerns is healthy. Tam divorced at 17. And at 20 years. April, you can earn your way out if you need to, releasing any regret for honoring yourself. It's, for me personally, right? I was always the one to leave my relationships, by the way. Like all my past relationships, I've never been broken up with, right? Because I control that. And it was always the fear of not wanting to voice what I was feeling, that I would just get in my head and say, like, this is not for me, I'm out. And every time, it's so hard. It's so hard. My husband has big emotions. He's a Sag. He has a Leo moon. He's a big energy. And so anytime I voice something, it's big, but then it settles down. So it's really scary to, like, say it because of the big reaction. But every time I do, we get a little bit closer. And we get a little bit closer. And we get a little bit closer. And that's it. I feel like it's the fear of facing my own emotions that has caused me to end previous relationships. But now that I'm just honest about it and I say, hey, I'm feeling like this. I don't know what it's all about. And then with practice too, like I used to react when he would respond and then I would react and then we both be yelling and crying. And now I just like, okay, you're gonna get over this in 5 minutes. So I'm just gonna chill. I know I have to say what I have to say, so go ahead. Go ahead, do your little thing, and then we get back together. So it just doesn't feel like the right time to split right now. This feels like it's time to keep working towards the pearl. And we'll see. We'll see what happens in the future. Very Taurus of us, right, Jackie? Yeah. April, when you make the decision, notice how you feel in your body. Trust yourself. Thank you so much, Tracy. I appreciate your donation. Good for you, goddess. Use your voice and speak your truth. It will continue to bring you closer. And I'm learning that. I'm learning that on a new level every day. It's hard. I'm a Taurus too. Yeah. Leia, oh dear, just joined. Well, we're about to get out of here. I'll be back on Friday to talk about the Sun conjunct Mercury. This replay will be on YouTube. Just look for the love. Look for the love in everything. Darla, so cute. Sending love to all. Namaste. I'll be back on Friday. Take care. I hope that video was just as insightful for you as it was for all of us. Darla and I really appreciate you being here with me. Thank you for liking this video, sharing it with a friend who you think would benefit, and subscribing to my YouTube channel. Also, drop a comment and let us know what you got from this video. What was your biggest insight or takeaway? If you want to see what else I'm working on, click on my link tree. It's right underneath this YouTube video. We'll see you next time. Take care.